Welcome back. It's Dr. Jen Boney, better known as DocJenFit, your personal doctor of physical therapy. And we are going to talk about early rehab movement that you can do if you've just had a C-section. Now, I had a C-section myself, and these are some of the movements that were so supportive in those first 1 to 2 weeks. And these are even movements that you can start to progress upon. Now, these are going to be more muscle activation, getting your body back into connection with your core. What is happening with your pelvic floor and your core? Because it just got cut through in a really big section on your belly, right? So we want to start to build that connection again all the way around our core, our trunk, and our hips. And these are really good early movements that you can do just laying in bed. Now, I also have a video on early mobility movements that you can do in those early weeks after C-section. So definitely add some of those exercises onto this as well. I have a lot more videos also to help with anyone who's had belly births just like me. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on those future videos, including scar desensitization, mobilization, mobility, and movements that you can do to help rehab and reconnect to your body. Now, I am wearing some leggings that come all the way up, and these are what I lived in those early weeks postpartum. Now, these are from Bay, and I think that they're called the recovery leggings. I can't quite remember, but they're the compression leggings for early postpartum, and they come really high, and they really helped with that connection back into my core and regaining that strength and mobility back by just having that support and feeling like I can move and still breathe really good in that early stage. So I'll have that linked up somewhere, and use code DocJenFit. You get 15% off of your first order when you use this link and my code. So this first one, again, picture this. I'm laying in bed, okay? Because I did all of these while laying in bed. And whenever you get down and up in bed, we want to make sure that you're coming onto your side and then rolling onto your back. That's what's going to be most supportive for your core in those early days. So I like to just relax my knees together. So I'm just focusing on some diaphragmatic breathing, starting to integrate what's happening with my pelvic floor and with my core. Okay. So I like to place my thumbs on my rib cage, my fingers on my belly, because it's not just about my belly expanding, but I really want to make sure I can feel my rib cage moving up to the sides and to the back into my bed. So I want to feel this entire expansion around my rib cage. And then as I breathe out, that rib cage is going to come down. That pelvic floor is going to come up. So as my rib cage descends on that exhale, I want to feel like I'm pulling a blueberry up and into my vagina. This is what's going to help to create that pelvic floor elevation and contraction with that squeeze as I do that core contraction as well. Okay, so you're going to do a deep inhale from that nose, feeling that expansion everywhere. A deep exhale, and really like you're blowing out just lightly a lot of candles. So that rib cage starts to come down, you flatten into the abs, and you pull that pelvic floor up. Now, what you don't want to do with the diaphragmatic breathing is you don't want to rotate in your hips or round out the spine. Okay, that's going to put some pressures in different areas. We really want to keep it as symmetrical through that back and that core as much as possible. So breathing in, breathing out, feel that connection up. On the inhale, as you expand from that rib cage and belly, try to think of that pelvic floor also just completely letting go. So breathing in, breathing out, pulling that rib cage down, pelvic floor up. And you think flattening hip bone to hip bone. Again, not rotating, just flattening. And if you work on this about 10 to 15 breaths every single day, I promise it's going to start to rebuild that core connection with that pelvic floor, with that entire core. And you're going to feel more supported throughout the day as you do certain movements. Next, we're going to grab a pillow here, and I want you to kind of just fold that pillow, keep it nice and small, and you're going to have it right between your knees. Now we're going into a mini bridge. This isn't about getting very high. This is about reconnecting with your core and your glutes. I like to turn the palms over. Okay. So palms up to the ceiling so that you're getting some back activation as you go through this. You're going to have your feet pretty close together, and we're going to do that exact same diaphragmatic breathing into that core contraction. Once you have that core contraction, we're going to squeeze into that pillow and do a mini tuck under of the bum and lift and then come down. Okay. So the tuck doesn't happen during that diaphragmatic breathing. We're going to do the breathing first, then tuck under and squeeze into those knees and coming down. It's a very mini bridge. You might not even be lifting the bum off the ground if you don't feel comfortable with that yet. So breathing in, breathing out, tuck, and squeeze, coming down. And it's just about 10 of these. Breathing in, breathing out, tuck, and squeeze. And so what we're trying to do is activate those inner thighs with the pelvic floor, with the core and the glutes. So we're kind of giving everything, just waking back up, trying to activate and really find that connection back. And you do about 10 of those as well. Okay. Then after you lose that pillow, so I'll put that back, then what feels really good, especially in bed, is just starting to open and get that upper back kind of waking up again. So we're going to place the arms like in a football post, and especially in bed where you have a little bit more range of motion, it's going to feel so good into the bed. So you're going to press those forearms and elbows back, squeeze those shoulder blades together and holding for about 5 seconds and then relaxing. One thing that you want to be sure of is that that rib cage and back isn't arching. So you can work on that diaphragmatic core breath again. And as I pull back, you can be working on that contraction down. So it's going to be a pull back, still breathing, but working on that rib cage coming down and then relaxing. So pulling those shoulder blades back, pushing those elbows into the ground and hands and forearms, holding 5 seconds and doing that about 10 times is going to feel so good for that upper back. And then we just have one more in standing. So for this last one, I like to have a chair or a bed or something to kind of support so you're not working on balance at the same time. And we're just going to do a mini squat as low as you feel comfortable with. And then you're going to come up and rise up onto your toes, so that we're kind of getting the calves and the whole back of the chain kind of working and reactivating. So again, it's a mini squat, and then you're going to lift and press. When you go into that heel raise, what I want you to be sure of is that you're staying over the ball of your big toe and you're keeping those ankles pretty close together. We don't want to fall out to the pinky. Okay. So again, it's going to be, you can walk your feet out. You can be a little bit wider if you feel more comfortable for that squat. So leaning back, getting into feeling the ground in your feet, feeling those legs, pressing through those legs, and then pushing up right over the ball of the big toe, coming down. And just doing about 10 to 15 of these is really going to help to reconnect to how you're moving and how you're feeling, because you're going to have things where you're going to have to bend and move as you're taking care of a new little human. So it doesn't have to be a deep squat. You're going to go as far as you feel comfortable, making sure you don't have any pain, tightness, or restriction, especially in these early days. This isn't about getting load or heavy on the squats or doing crazy exercise. It's about working and reconnecting into your body so that you help to support yourself in the other movements that you're going to be doing as you're taking care of a new human. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions or suggestions on what you need for your own body. Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.